What's up, squad? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video haircut tutorial, we're going to do step by step. We're going to bring it down to the wavelength on coarse hair. You can see right here, this is the before, and we're going to bless my client. So first off, we're going to start off with the comb, brush out the hair, make it more easy to do my work. I got these Oster Octane with the 1.5 on top, and I'm just going with the grain. So I'm going with the grain with the haircut. My client, that's what he wants, and we're gonna make it happen. So we're going with the grain. That's what we're doing right here. We're gonna do a taper the side. We're not tapering the back, but you can see my client does have the 2 dreadlocks left in back of his head. He keeps that. So what I'm doing right here, I'm just going with the grain around the whole head, being careful, because when you go against the grain or go against the cowlick, it'll tend to put a patch in the head. That's why it's so important to follow your client's hair growth, especially when they got the wave, the cowlicks. You don't want to go against it and give it a patch. So be patient with these skill sets, these techniques. It's going to take time. And yeah, after all, you're going to master it after you keep going over it over and over. So right now I'm spraying my spritz, holding spray for the lineup, and just brushing it. Now I'm using my Andy's Slimline Pro, lining up the back of the head. And I just brush it over again. That way if I missed any overlaying hair, just go over it one more time, brush it. Then you're gonna make it real sharp and clean. I have one of my fingers holding the air down as I'm going across it with the corner of my blade. So that's what we're doing now. So now I'm doing the side of the lineup on the head and just barely tapping it. I'm letting my clippers work for me. That's pretty much what it is. You let your clippers work for you. You're just the man behind it, operating the machine. It's your skill set, but for the most part, you let the clippers work for you. It's always good to keep your tools clean and sharp. Maintenance it. That way it keeps going and lasts long, and the results are going to be good. So same thing, technique. I'm brushing the hair down, and you can see how that hair is overlaying it. You just clean it right up. That way when your client brushes it himself later on, there ain't gonna be no hair laying over because you done cleaned it up. So things like that, everything matters in this type of industry, especially this is art. So every detail matters, every hair matters. So you want to be the best you could be. Now I'm doing the side of the head for the lineup, making that guideline. And this is my technique. Everyone's technique is different, but for you guys that's learning, or barbers in general, just always want to maximize your potential. And this is my technique on how I do it. Line it up, then I put the fade in the temple taper. So that's what we're doing now. I got my Andy's Slimline Pro, and I just made that first guideline, and now I'm using my Andy's Fade Master, making the second guideline. Then I'm gonna focus on that guideline that I just put in with the Andy's Master. Now I'm gonna take it out. So I'm going back and forth with my lever, open, close. Then I'm going to my second guideline with the Wall 5-star Senior Cordless, and got my number 1 guard on. That's a premium guard. Now I got my 0 guard and just taking out that line that I just put in. And I always got my brush to brush out the hair that is cut, because sometimes it'll stick to it. Now I got no guard on, open and close, and just tighten up the blend, that contrast. Back to my number 1 guard, and I got it open, close, and going back and forth, just going a little bit higher for the temple taper. So my client does like the little curve, the arch for the lineup with the taper. I'm going with the grain with the number 1 guard, I believe. Yeah, that's the 1 guard, and just brushing it. So I'm going with it when I go with the grain. Now I'm going against it, making sure I brush it the way the hair is growing and the way the waves are patterned. So I got my number 1.5 guard on now, and going against the grain, just going a little bit higher, take down that bulk, so it could be real detailed and defined. Going back to the number 1 guard, whatever dark spots I see, I'm gonna just lighten up and get that contrast and that blend, that blurry blend. And just really a lot of back and forth with the guards. I got the 0 guard back on, and it's open close with the lever, brushing it. And now it's just the same thing with the other side. You know, you're gonna do the same thing with the other side. Nothing's changed as far as the technique. You know, it's the same technique on this side of the left side of the head. You know, line up the back. And like I said before, my client don't get the back taper. He just don't want it, and that's his preference, and that's fine. You know, because at the end of the day, they're paying you to cut their hair. And of course, you recommend things that's gonna look better as far as the haircut. But some people are just, you know, already confident in what they want, and that's fine. You know, so they're just paying for the service. But I did recommend the back taper, but he just didn't want it. So I lined up the back for that side, and this is just the whole other side. You know, this ain't the same side that we just did. So, and it's very important when you line up the tempo of the head, you know, which is the side what I'm doing now, to make it match up to the other side. You know, so you gotta pay attention to that. And you see how I always do that technique when I after I line it up, I brush the hair down again just to get that hair that's falling over, you know, that's laying over. Because like I said, every detail matters in this type of industry. You know, you want to build your clientele, charge prices, high prices if you want to charge, and just keep it going. So that's what it is, to build your clientele, to be the best you could be, especially, you know, in this industry. You know, it's talent, it's craft, it's art. So this is how you get your name out there. This is how you get that buzz, by being the best you could be and really being dedicated and committed to it. You know, it's a passion. You know, not everybody can cut hair, but, you know, we all got different talents, but we all serve a purpose at the end of the day. So I'm gonna just let you guys watch these techniques. You know, even if you gotta watch the video over and over, you know, to get it right, it's always gonna be a payoff. You know, as far as it's gonna pay off in your skill, it's gonna make you a better barber, and it's gonna bring more clientele, which is gonna bring more money to you. You know, so yeah, I'm gonna just let you guys watch the video, you know, since I already did the technique on the other side. So I just really want you guys to focus and just watch everything that I'm doing step by step, you know. And you guys are always more than welcome to drop comments below during the video. You know, if you guys got any question during the step, push pause and ask it. You know, give me the time in the comment section where, you know, that you're asking about as far as the technique that I'm doing. You know, so I'm always open to get back to my YouTube subscribers and everybody that's watching this video. Now I'm doing the front for last. You know, I always keep the front for last, you know. So I'm starting off in the middle because that's where the high point was for my client's hair, meaning the highest point of the lineup was in the middle. So I'm gonna base it off that. And remind yourself, everybody's hair lineup ain't perfect. You know, sometimes you gotta explain that to them, and sometimes people demand you to do what they want, and it's like you can't go against it. But Yeah, so right now we're just doing the front of the lineup. We're just barely tapping it. Like I said, I'm letting the clippers work for me. I'm using those 2 index fingers as basically my kickstand to make my hand more steady. I'm using my other hand to hold the head, make sure everything's steady, because it's very important. You see my brush, I always got my brush in my hand, or either my comb. But I always brush the hair out the way just to make it visible. And remind you, I put the spritz on earlier so the hair is in place, it's holding it in place. And just being gentle, and the clippers work for me. And you can see already the difference from the other side. And now we're gonna do the other side of the head, and just do it like that, each side. This is my technique, like I said. And the reason why I started in the middle, because like I said, my client, the forehead for the lineup, that's where his high point was in the middle. So my client does want a line all the way through his head, and he wants it to like basically curve in at the end. So that's what we're doing now. We're just making that first little like rough draft. It's just like drawing. You draw it out, you rough draft it, then you go into detail after you get the outline done. So this is what I'm doing, just doing the outline and just doing that first so I can get the idea. Then I'll come back later on and sharpen it up, make it more a little bit thicker so it could pop out more definition. So now I'm gonna just go make the line a little bit thicker, just for the definition and just to pop out more, so it could be more sharp. So I'm just going a little bit thicker. I like to go like wider in the beginning, then kind of slim it down towards the end. And that's just my preference. That's my eye. That's my art. So you guys try this technique out, learn from it, and see the results to see if you like it and your client likes it. And I'm pretty sure they will, just because I've been doing this a long time, and I've been experimenting just through the past and just through the years I've been cutting. And obviously, I built my clientele up to where I own my own barbershop now. Built my clientele up where I could afford to open up a barbershop and, bring other people in to cut hair. And it's like a cycle, you teach them, and some of them already know how to cut, but we all learn from each other. And that's just the dope thing about being a barber. You're self-employed, you become a great barber. Then say if you want more, you want to open up a business. And that's what I did when I was 21. I opened up a business. So you can see how defined the line is. It came along, in the waves. And like I said, I'm being gentle with it. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing. And now to the razor. You always want to be careful with the razor. You want to let the razor just basically glide over the skin. And, just a little bit of pressure, but, I'm not putting in a lot. I'm just letting the razor work for me and just going over the pores and cleaning it up. So that's what it is. That's why I like to save the razor for last, because it cleans it up last. And everything's already straight. You got that third eye as your mirror when you look at for the lineup and for the haircut. So I always save the razor for last, and that's pretty much everybody. A lot of people do. So yeah, I use Derby's razor blades too. And now I'm cleaning up the line through the head. Make sure to stretch the skin. You don't gotta put a lot of pressure. Just let the razor work for you, and it's gonna clean it up. So that's what that is. And I'm using the scissor technique to clean up all the little hairs. Like I said, every hair matters. Every detail matters. And take it to the next step. Be different. Maximize your potential, your skill set. And this is the after. You can see how much of a difference it is from when we first started. You can see how defined the haircut is. The lineup's fresh. You can see the wave pattern, the line through the head. And yeah. So like I said, drop comments below. You know, follow these techniques, watch this video over and over again, you know, and just learn and ask questions. You know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Barbers, you know, cosmetologists, everybody that's watching this video that's interested in cutting hair. So this is money right here. This is how you build your clientele. This is how you keep them coming, by doing definition cuts. You know, follow these techniques. Like I said, learn. You know, you can never stop learning. So, you know, it's your boy Flexxinruee. Please hit that like button. Drop a comment if you got any questions. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, y'all. Peace.